Se7en at 30, Jeffrey Dean Morgan Forgotten Movie almost was a sequel that failed badly. Solace nearly became a Se7en sequel but flopped. David Fincher's absence preserved the original's legacy and allowed a fresh thriller experiment, Solace, starring Anthony Hopkins, Colin Farrell, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, almost became a sequel to David Fincher's 1995 classic, Se7en. It started as a concept to continue the story of Detective Somerset, played by Morgan Freeman via Movie Hole. However, it then turned into a standalone mystery thriller where Hopkins played a psychic doctor and Morgan was an FBI agent. New Line Cinema's initial plan was to release it as a direct follow-up to Se7en, but after Fincher refused a return, the studio reworked the script multiple times, and eventually, they scrapped the connection altogether. Now, let's look at why the movie failed to live up to the success of Fincher's crime thriller, and how the director saved his legacy by not getting on board for the sequel. Why Jeffrey Dean Morgan's style Solace couldn't measure up to Se7en. Solace featured gruesome serial killings, and followed Jeffrey Dean Morgan's FBI agent, Joe, who teams up with psychic Dr. Clancy to track down Charles Ambrose, played by Colin Farrell. The film's killer targets terminally ill victims, and Solace explores subjects like morality and mercy killings. But despite a star-studded cast, the movie was a critical and commercial failure. Even with talented creatives backing up the project, most found the plot to be predictable and full of common tropes. Anthony Hopkins delivered a respectable performance as Clancy, but Morgan and Farrell were labeled as underwhelming. Moreover, the stylistic choices of the movie also backfired and made it seem like a low-budget production. Scenes that were supposed to carry emotional weight fell flat, and the project crushed under the weight of its own ambition. How Solace not being a sequel to Se7en saved David Fincher's legacy. Solace is largely forgotten today, but had it gone forward as a true sequel to David Fincher's Se7en, in his absence, it would have tarnished not only its own reputation but also that of the original. Fincher's refusal ultimately ensured that Se7en remained a standalone classic. Here's an overview of both movies. Title: Rotten Tomatoes. Critic score, audience score, worldwide box office. Via the numbers. Solace, 2015, 24%, 45%, $23.5 million. Se7en, 1995, 84%, 95%, $328.9 million. From a storytelling perspective, Solace's separation from the Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt star allowed it to explore and experiment with other elements, such as psychic visions. They were able to craft a fresh thriller, even if it didn't fully succeed. So, what do you think about this idea of Se7en having a sequel? Do you feel that maybe we should revisit the characters, but only under Fincher's creative control? You can watch Solace on Prime Video and Se7en on HBO Max, USA.